So I get a lot of questions about fragrances every single day in my comments, and I do try to answer them all. And sometimes I answer some of them in a video like this. Time to do a new round of your fragrance questions answered. Before I begin, a like on this video is highly appreciated, thank you, and make sure you subscribe. So the first question is, why buy the eau de toilette when they are less performing? It's actually quite common that I get comments saying like, I only buy the eau de parfums or I only buy the parfums. And the thing is, higher fragrance concentrations nowadays anyways doesn't always correlate with better performance. There are EDTs out there that are stronger and more long lasting than eau de parfums, and there are eau de parfums that are more long lasting than parfums. But more important than that is that the flanker, regardless if it's an eau de parfum or a parfum, quite often can be quite different scent-wise compared to the EDT. So scent-wise, there can quite often be a difference, and I do believe that you should go by the scent. Simply going by concentration means that you could potentially end up with a scent that you enjoy less. The best thing is to always go by scent first, see if you like it or not, and then see if the performance is something you think works for you. Next question, if you had to choose between all the bad boys and all the 1 millions, which do you think is better? Great question, and also quite a tough one, because we are basically putting a lot of different fragrances against each other. I do think that the Bad Boy line is quite underrated, with the Extreme, Cobalt and Cobalt Elixir being some of my favorites. However, I do reach for the 1 millions more. Royal is fantastic, both Lucky and Elixir smells great. And I recently got back to using 1 million Privé, my small bottle of it, and I absolutely love that thing. So in this battle, I give it to 1 millions. I would love to hear from you guys. If you had to choose between the 1 millions and the bad boys, which one would you choose? So the next question, I have Dior Homme Intense, thoroughly enjoy it. Between Valentino Uomo Intense and Prada L'Homme Intense, which do you think smells better, or which would be less redundant to Dior Homme Intense? So this is a question about 3 powdery fragrances. Now I know a lot of people think Valentino Uomo Intense is extremely similar to Dior Homme Intense, and while I definitely agree there are similarities, I do not think they are exactly the same. But there are definitely more similarities if you compare Uomo Intense with Dior Homme Intense than if you compare Dior Homme Intense with Prada L'Homme Intense. Prada L'Homme Intense is definitely less redundant to Dior Homme Intense. So the next question, will Valentino Born in Roma Intense be a good fragrance for autumn? So I got this question on my fall fragrances video, which I recently put out. I'm gonna link to it above, so feel free to check it out. I've talked about Born in Roma Intense a lot, and to me it's basically all about vanilla with a touch of lavender in a super smooth, slightly sweet and soft woody blend. I do not consider this to be a fresh scent, but I also do not consider this to be like a heavy, deep or super rich kind of scent. This is subjective, of course, like everything else when it comes to fragrances. However, I do think Born in Roma Intense works throughout the year. So the next question, what's the best fragrance that Negan could wear with his seductive villain, ruthless character with a larger than life attitude with his Harley leather jacket style? So this question was on my Armani Stronger With You Intensely review. He would definitely not wear Stronger With You Intensely. Stronger With You Intensely is way too nicely. So I actually watched Walking Dead right up until like a season or so after Negan came in. He was indeed crazy, insanely ruthless, and always with a leather jacket. Let me know in the comments if you think it's worth it to watch it all to the end. For Negan, I don't think he would bother reaching for a fragrance before going out and whooping some ass. But if he would definitely reach for something badass for sure. Come on, he wears that leather jacket pretty much all the time. So I would say something like Tom Ford ombre leather, or something sort of animalic like Dior leather oud, Nishane Africa Oliphant, or Amouage Myths Man. Let me know in the comments which fragrance you think would be perfect for Negan. So next question, I'm about to buy it daily and I'm stuck between these fragrances. It's mostly hot year round. 1 million Lucky, Prada L'Homme or YSL Mysf, what would you choose? So I thought 1 million Lucky was discontinued and long gone, but this is a great scent though. Out of these 3, for hot weather, I would go with either Prada L'Homme or YSL myself. L'Homme has this soft powdery and floral fresh scent with neroli, iris and a bit of woodiness. Myself to me is basically a mix of citrusy freshness and white florals with a soft woodiness to it. Both sort of a fresh but in different ways. I would probably go with Prada L'Homme because I do think it has more layers to it, and I also think it's so incredibly well made. However, I do experience YSL Mysf as a slightly more intensely fresh scent. The citrus just feels more fresh, which makes it a bit more appealing on super warm days. So, Prada L'Homme if you're okay with something that is a bit less intensely fresh. YSL Mysf if you want a more intense dose of citrusy freshness. But like always, go with the one you enjoy the most. So the next question is about Dior Sauvage Elixir. Can I wear Dior Elixir anytime, anywhere, or just at winter? Great question. So I've worn Dior Sauvage Elixir quite a few times on summer night outs, and I absolutely love the way it smells with a bit of warmth. Just mind your sprays though. And I do use Sauvage Elixir throughout the year because every now and then I absolutely crave it and use it regardless of the season. With that said, Dior Sauvage Elixir does have a bit of weight to it, so it definitely leans more towards fall, winter and spring, and this is definitely not the first fragrance I'm thinking about wearing on super warm days. If you decide to wear Dior Sauvage Elixir on a warm day, just mind your space, you really don't need that much. So the next question, what if layering both? So this question was on my Azzaro The Most Wanted versus the Most Wanted Parfum video. The answer, the combo of these two together smells great. You get the intense spiciness and sweetness of the OG mixed with the vanilla of the Parfum, and the result feels a bit more sort of a nuanced and layered. I would however experiment with the amount of sprays of each to make sure you get the result you enjoy the most. I do prefer more sprays of the Eau de Parfum Intense with just a few sprays of the Parfum, because I do feel that the vanilla in the Parfum easily can take over the entire combo. From one question about Azzaro The Most Wanted to another, would this fit a suit? Great question, by the way. While some scents have this sort of a classy or dressed up kind of feel to them, I do not feel they are reserved or strictly sort of limited to that kind of use. A fragrance that goes perfectly with a nice suit and tie also works with a more sort of a laid back outfit, like let's say a nice pair of jeans and like a crisp white shirt. Same thing the other way around. Let's say you have this extremely playful, fun and flirty scent. Combining it with a suit doesn't take away anything from the dressed up feel of the outfit. I actually think combos like that can add an exciting contrast to it all. So I know someone will disagree with me on this, but the scent adds to you and your vibe. If you're dressed to the nines, you could almost, I mean there are some extreme scents out there, wear anything. If you put on a suit and spray on The Most Wanted, you will both look good and smell good. Simple as that. So yes, I do think it would fit a suit, and sorry about the long answer. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. So many questions about Azzaro The Most Wanted, and the next one is, what should I get for winter date night fragrance? Azzaro The Most Wanted Eau de Parfum or Stronger With You Intensely? Like always, get the one you like the most. You're the one that will be wearing it. I know a lot of people think these two are extremely similar, almost like the same. And while I do think there are similarities, they are not exactly the same. I think both are great scents. I know most would probably choose Stronger With You Intensely, but I would choose The Most Wanted Eau de Parfum. To me, this one is better. Again, go with whatever you like the most. I would love to hear which of these two you think is the best, so comment. So the next question, which would you choose between Luna Rossa Carbon and Sauvage Eau de Parfum? Great question, and in a way a tough one, because I've often mentioned Luna Rossa Carbon as a sort of a smoother alternative to Dior Sauvage. Luna Rossa Carbon smells good for sure, but choosing between Carbon and Sauvage Eau de Parfum, I would most likely go with Sauvage Eau de Parfum. Sauvage Eau de Parfum is slightly sort of a richer and fuller, so yeah. I know a lot of people think it's pretty much blasphemy to say that Sauvage is still good, but I do think it is. So next question, can you do Male Le Parfum versus Armani Code Parfum? So I've done a lot of fragrance battles on the channel, but I have not done this one. Armani Code Parfum is a fantastic scent, but if I would have to choose between these two, I would choose Male Le Parfum. So the next question, would you say Parfums de Marly Percival fits in this category? So this is a question on my Everyday Fragrances for Men video that I recently did. I'm gonna link to it above, so feel free to check it out. Percival is basically sort of a simplified woody and fresh scent. To me, it's a fresh shade that can be used throughout the year. So next up, a question about Victor of Spicebomb Extreme. Is Spicebomb Extreme the best vanilla tobacco fragrance. I definitely think Spicebomb Extreme is among some of the best tobacco vanilla fragrances. However, there are so many tobacco vanilla fragrances out there by now, and I do think that some of them are better than Spicebomb Extreme. So the next question, can you explain what it does mean when you say a scent or a fragrance is powdery? Great question. So powder could be described as something that reminds you of powdery cosmetic products or talcum powder, etc. So there's no sort of a powdery texture to the juice itself. Now when I smell something powdery, I can sort of feel its powderiness and texture even though there's nothing to touch. There are different types of sources for powderiness, with iris, orris and violet being some of the most common ones. My suggestion to sort of learn your nose what it smells like is to go to a store and spray on Dior Homme Intense, Valentino Uomo Intense or Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privé, all of which are quite powdery, and see if you can pick up on it. If you still can't sort of pick up on it, then you could spray something like Dior Sauvage or Buy EDT Parfum on a separate test strip and compare those with the powder essence to see if that sort of helps you feel the difference and the powderiness. That was it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please drop a like on this video. Thank you. I really do appreciate it.